Okay, so here we are on the campaign map. One thing we're going to try to do this campaign is switch off between who's recording, just so you have a better picture of the overall campaign map and what each player is trying to do. Madness is going to start out with the first, I don't know how many videos, but because I'll be gone for the next 3 or 4 days, obviously I can't upload. So he's just going to record everything in this session, and in the next session will probably be from my point of view, and we'll just go from there. But at the moment, I believe I have 5 provinces. I have Iga, Setsu, Awaji, Awa, Sanuki, and Tosa, so I guess that's 6. And I've kind of consolidated my power base, have most of Shikoku, and one thing that's interesting about this particular campaign is basically everything from Yamashiro, which is in the middle where that's where Kyoto was in
Yeah,
the
it still says Kyoto on the map
okay, yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
okay.
still using the old concealed map from the main campaign.
Yeah. So everything from Kyoto to the left is basically not allied with me at the start. You can still go to war with people, but they have a political affiliation, which is Toyotomi. So they're politically affiliated with me, and that's kind of the religion in this game. Is instead of being like Christian or uh, not Bushido, Buddhist, it's like Toyotomi loyalists or Tokugawa loyalists. So then the other half of the map, past Yamashiro to the right, up to Date Lands, all the way over there, is basically allied with the Tokugawa.
More or
So
less.
more or less. Again, you can still go to war, and I think that's probably going to happen if you want to talk about what the Otani is doing up there above you right now.
Well, the Otani are currently not at war with me, but they are Toyotomi aligned and they have 5 provinces
They're big.
surrounding 2 of mine. So, well, as you can see, I have a full stack tied up in Shinano right now, including a unit of Naginata Ashigaru, which is new to this campaign. I think I haven't seen them outside of this. Maybe in Radius mods. They might appear. I haven't used those, so I don't know. And then of course each faction has this particular unique unit. In my case, it's Tadatsuga's Naginata Cav. You can see the stats; they're pretty good, and the unit only costs 4 upkeep. And all of them are like that. Like some have bows, some have spears, whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I have Golden Guard, which is like a general unit with ridiculous melee attack, but it's not actually a general. And then I have Katsumaro's Jumanji Samurai. So they're basically just beefed up hero versions of regular troops,
right.
but they're in very small number, and they're actually nowhere near as good as heroes. But they're still very useful in a melee fight, or ranged fight for that
I would
matter.
argue they're actually better than heroes because they cost so little upkeep.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
get them basically for nothing. And then of
And
course, um,
you go,
uh,
you go.
yeah. Well, I have 2 Yari Samurai, and that's all the Yari Samurai I can have in this campaign because apparently there's a cap, historical cap on Samurai, and these guys, as you can see, do have really good stats, like multiplayer kind of stats. This unit has 19 morale, 16 attack, 21 defense, and only costs me 65 upkeep. It also only has 90 men, but that's much better than something like Katana Ashigaru, which also only have 90 men, but they only have 4 attack and 6 defense. So Samurai kick ass in this game, except that you don't get to have too many of them. Just to point out the balance here, and in case anyone's wondering why I'm only using 2 Samurai units, that is why. And what I'm spamming instead is Naginata Ashigaru. As you can see, they have the best stats out of all like basic Ashigaru units. Well, they're not basics. You need to upgrade something to get them. I think you need to upgrade your castle. And well, generally you have way more options. Like Long Yari Ash are available to you. You have this new unit called Ashigaru Kashira, which is kind of like a Ashigaru leader unit. So it has a moral aura and it can rally and inspire, but it's at the same time a really small unit. So yeah, this is really like what are they called in Rome? Druids. They're
Yeah,
kind of
Druidic
like those.
clones. Yeah.
Like, and they are positive reinforcements for your troops instead of, you know, decreasing opposing units' morale, like I don't know, screeching women or now hex bearers would. Um, well,
Well,
And
basically, yeah, there are a bunch of new units in this mod, and one of the most important things, besides the tech tree being a little bit different and giving you access to better technology faster, you definitely move through the tech tree a lot faster in this game. In this, um, you also end up starting out with gunpowder tech, so you start with matchlocks, which in Sengoku
right.
Kujidai you basically didn't. You had to research really far down the tech tree in military tech to get good matchlocks, and in this, that's not the case. So I think that's pretty cool.
Unless you were playing as Otomo, you basically needed, well, attack by fire, the 5 elements, and then gunpowder mastery, which took, yeah, ages. So basically you never did it because you just needed to focus on your economy for the longest time. And your energy turn, okay, that's fine. Um, also, I haven't talked about my realm yet.
Feel free to do so.
I started out with Iso and Sagami, as you could see in the opening video, where we took a look at the faction leaders and their history. I've gone up to, well, I had to go up to Kozuke and North Shinano to take provinces because I am surrounded by allies in the beginning. I have the Yamauchi, the Honda, and I used to have the E as well surrounding me. So I had no, and in addition to that, most of them were allied to each other, so I didn't really have a good option in terms of expanding. So I tried to go for the Naue, which were destroyed by the Honda really fast, so I had to go for something else. Ended up taking those 2 provinces, and I've recruited a couple stacks, which I'm now going to send into Shinano to take care of the Otani, because I'm pretty sure at some point they will attack me, and if they don't, I probably will attack them. Just because if I look at diplomacy, which I couldn't do when it's what was their turn, I am in kind of a dire situation diplomatically. Like I can't expand early because I'm surrounded by allies, and then I have this giant blob of evil Toyotomi loyalists to take care of. So it's already kind of looking a little bit like the last campaign we played, but hopefully it won't end the same way. Anything else we need to talk about initially?
Not that I can think of. You have North Shinano right now, so you're moving. I mean, obviously, you don't have to say if you don't want, but you're moving to South Shinano to take that because that's the Fukushima, not the
No.
Otani. So
Yeah,
where in Shinano are you?
that used to be an opposing clan, but the Fukushima took it, and then somehow they lost their provinces. But I can't see the territory yet,
Hmm.
so I don't know. I'm just gonna send my Darren in that direction. And yeah, that's something that's also worth mentioning. We have a new agent named Dairanin, and as you can see, this guy has a giant province conversion skill, 8 stars, I believe. This is your new agent, and his entire purpose is to make it easier to transition between the loyalties whenever you do, because you obviously you have to uh, conquer a lot of opposing settlements. And the trade-off for that being diplomatically viable because you're surrounded by your allies is that it's going to take you ages to actually convert the political alignment. So they have these, what are they called? Tokugawa loan rooms and Toyotomi loan rooms, which do that. And they also allow you to get these Darinin out, which don't really do anything too well, except convert
Convert
provinces.
Yeah.
And I don't believe I've seen any Metzger. Although, no, actually, that's not
You
true.
can use them.
I have one.
Yeah, I have one too.
It's been a few days, sorry.
It's all good.
So, yeah. Well, the old agent still exists. Maybe monks don't exist.
No, monks do not exist. The Dairanin is the monk because they're
Oh, okay.
converting
Yeah,
provinces.
he's taking up the slot, right? For the
Mhm.
monks.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Just like you have 3 different packs to, like, faction packs which you can include in the game, each of which has one faction for occupying the slot of one faction from the original campaign. So they couldn't put on, I don't know why exactly, that's probably how they did it. They just, modded the banners, the unit names, etc. of each faction. So that's why you can only use one pack at a time. And this particular pack happens to include both the Tokugawa and the Toyotomi, so we thought it would be a good idea to use the historical leaders of the Western and Eastern armies.
And one of the hard things about this campaign is expanding early on because you are friendly with everyone, and you can if you start declaring war on them, you start losing your supporters, and they kind of, at least my understanding is that they can snowball and start really hating your guts. And if you're killing everyone and you're near your home province, you're gonna have a really hard time expanding. And the thing about Shogun 2 campaigns in general is that the early expansion is long and arduous because there are so many clans and they all start out with the exact same amount of troops. You do the exact same everything you do. So like in Rome 2, if you're Egypt, you start with an empire basically and like more money and stuff. But in Shogun, that's not the case. You're going to be starting the exact same way with every other clan. So it makes the start harder, and it makes it in some ways less interesting right at the beginning because again, it takes a while to get going, get your armies doing stuff, and that's why we decided to wait a little bit before we actually jumped into it.
And even though it doesn't look like much, that I've conquered 2 provinces and recruited 2 full stacks, and Indy has conquered, I think you started off with 3
Three,
provinces.
and I have 6 now. Yeah.
So you conquered 3 more. It doesn't look like much, but it actually took us like a couple hours to do that. So that's roughly 6 campaign parts, which now you're not going to see, which would have been quite uninteresting for the most part. Well, aside from that one battle where I outcamped you so good.
we played a
it
couple
destroyed you.
of battles as AI, yeah.
Yeah, the Shinano no Sanada, which were in North Shinano, and Kozuke, which I destroyed. Those guys had a nice full stack that they sent my way, but unfortunately, even though Indy Pride took over the army in the battle, he was not able to break me because he had archers against my guns, and, which I think needs to be pointed out, in this particular campaign, matchlocks generally outpower bows. Like, the main advantage you have as bows in the main campaign is range, which is not true here. Like, they have... Boshigaru have 120 range here, and matchlocks have been up to 125 at the lowest. Some of them go up to 175, while bow monks, I believe, are at 150, so guns outrange bows, and they have, well, similar power against low armor units, and of course greater power against high armor units. And they're not, they're not cheap, they are cheap, roughly the same price to upkeep, etc. So, yeah, it's almost strictly worse to use bows unless you really have a particular need to shoot over hills or over walls and hit something that's hidden behind it. But that's a very niche use, which is why I'm not even bothering with bows. Yeah, and Indy found out about that the hard way in that battle because he thought he could just skirmish me when I was sitting on my hill, and he had to attack me because the Sanada had attacked me, so that's another factor. So camping in campaign is fine. Camping in multiplayer is boring, but in campaign, well, it's also boring, but it's fine because your opponent has a goal and a reason to attack you, so it's not gonna be just you guys sitting around staring at each other and doing nothing. And, well, Indy thought he could just shoot my guns and then shoot my infantry, but that didn't happen. My guns out-skirmished him.
So hard, oh my god, you should have seen it. He ran to Mount Everest and he sat there. He literally sat on Mount Everest waiting. He wouldn't come down. I told him, yo, just come down, come fight me like a man. And he was like, nope, not doing it. I was mad.
Well, luckily the whole stack you lost in that battle was not your stack, so you're okay, I think. You still have two more provinces than I do. You have more allies than I do.
Yeah, it wasn't my stack at all. It was some random.
It was random stack. Well, the Sanada, which historically held up Hidetada's army, and with him half of Tokugawa's troops. So that's relevant. But yeah, now they're not going to do that. Hello, Date. Let me trade with you.
My good friend,
Let me ally with
tell
you.
me what
Cool.
concerns you.
I would really like to stop the Yamauchi and Honda from killing each other, because they're my strongest allies and we can't afford infighting, but I guess it's just going to happen. I don't have the strength to do that. I'm gonna focus on destroying the evil Otani douchebags.
I actually just made a mistake.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Cool. What was it?
There was a stack from the Ikeda that just attacked me, and I retreated because I want to reinforce with another stack. The problem is the stack that I'm reinforcing with is kind of far away, so they're not going to be there for 3 or 4 turns. And I could have been on the defensive that battle. And I could still be on the defensive the next battle, but I don't know if they have more troops somewhere else. So they could, if they attack me again, they're going to have more troops this next time. And if I attack them, then you could theoretically be a douchebag and hill camp if you got some favorable deployment zone.
Okay. Well,
And I think I could have won the first the battle when they attacked me the first time.
I'm going to do something quite ballsy here, since Hida has no garrison at all, and
If you value your
I have a full stack next to them. I'm going to hopefully destroy the Otani, who are strong. I'm moderate, but hey, wouldn't be interesting otherwise. Allies Ishida, Kawachi no Maeda, and Kinoshita. That's beautiful. But I'm gonna take that province, if you don't mind.
Is this a battle you're fighting?
Nope. But leased land, are you... What? Who would do that? Come on. No, because of that stupid leased land, I can't just build my parlor and, you know, convert the province. That's kind of annoying. Well, I do have my Darinian, so I guess that's fine. But still.
Wait, is it my turn next, or was it my turn before you?
Well, it was your turn when
Oh, and then
when you saved, and then, of course, it's my turn before you, technically, so once I end it, it's going to be your turn right away. Let me see, I think +2 wealth generated by farms sounds pretty good. I don't think I've got anything else to do. Hopefully I'm not gonna get bitten in the ass for doing this. Let's see. Okay, so the Ishida are the ones destroying the Fukushima. That's not good. Owari, Mino, Omi. The Maeda sit in Noto. Okay. That shouldn't be a problem. If I can take the Otani, I think I can take the rest of them. But we'll see.
And I wish I had I was recording my side because my ninja just assassinated one of the Ikeda generals, which is awesome. And I believe that will be my opening to go in and murder them in battle. Now, I think this is going to be a battle that you take over. I would request that if it's not your troops, you not to be a hill camping douchebag if you do get favorable terrain, but I guess that'll be your call.
It is my call, and since I'm at a disadvantage, I'm pretty sure
You're
I'm
not.
going to do
Yeah, I don't
whatever.
think you are. I don't know if you are. The balance bars are the same, but do what you
Well,
want.
I'm talking about the campaign. Like, yeah, I'm gonna play this, and chances are I'm gonna still lose, but you know.
I think I have the advantage because again I have the matchlock advantage, and I don't think you're starting on any super favorable grounds or anything. I don't want to lose a stack. I'll say that. It's still scary. Like it's always scary to play stack versus stack, but I do think I definitely have the advantage in this fight.